Well, there goes Drake. Got me in my feelings. Mm-hmm.
All right. Drake got you in your feelings, man. Uh-oh.
He'll land somewhere else. But yeah.
Definitely will. Answers by guess. Doing a little bit of update here, guys, on the preseason, answering your questions. What's up, guess?
Not too much. I had an idea.
Okay.
Before we get into anything, anybody that likes this show, likes this particular show, and comments anything on this show, like and comment, put you on a list. We'll do the list after the show, and we'll randomize that list, and we'll send you a free T-shirt.
I like it. We already have a like, so
yeah. And I think that might be something we do as much as possible, because we got to get people interacting. We got to get likes, loves, laughs, hates, cries, whatever, and a couple comments. So you got to like or love any of those, and the comment. You do both. You go on a list. We random the list. You get a free T-shirt.
I like your thinking. I wrote that down. Free T-shirt. All right, so I'm going
to
go
back
and make sure that I like and comment. Oh, hold on. All right, I'm good now. All right, guys, remember, always like us, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. So we're going to kind of go a little bit differently today. Kind of going to go review based on divisions, give some updates as far as some of the guys that guests had given you in the previous show, and then we'll answer your questions from there. Let's start with the AFC East, bud.
Yeah, I didn't really take notes because, like I said, this show is going to be for them. But if you watch the first show, I mean, really, like the one thing that's kind of sticking out about what I said was the negatives. Like, I like all the New England running backs, but it's going to be a toss-up, and it looks like Stevenson is kind of looking like the one to own. He's going to be taking that James White role, and we know how valuable that is. So Ramondre Stevenson, what's up, Chris, is somebody who you should be bumping up your boards unless you're in a league with me, and drafting him ahead of Damian Harris, I think, at this point.
They're loving Stevenson over there, man. Loving him.
Yeah, we know how valuable James White was.
Oh, yeah.
And Stevenson's bigger and stronger. Might not be faster, but bigger and stronger. And if he's the pass-catching back for New England, that's going to be a lot of points.
All right, I'm just sharing the video wherever I can share the video, so bear with me 1 sec here. All right. Let's go to the next one here. AFC North. Do I need to mention a name? Because I'm pretty sure everybody knows who the hell he is now.
I'm not sure who you were talking about, so you could talk about him, but I'm just going to update from what I said. The question mark we had here was Rosen. He looked okay the first preseason game. Not so good the last one. He had a couple really nice throws, but I still think he's going to win that job. Maybe not week 1, maybe not week 2, but before week 12 or 13, whenever Watson comes back, I think we'll see Rosen start a game.
All right. Definitely thinking of the NFC North. My bad. I'll definitely backtrack a little bit there. All right. Let's go on to the next one here. AFC South.
Yeah, we had a negative for Henry. And the reason was not for him. It was Hassan Haskins, and he looks every bit the part. He looks exactly what they drafted Darrington Evans 4 years ago, maybe better. So Hassan Haskins is a name you have to put somewhere towards the end of the draft still. So we're still sticking to that. You're not bumping Henry down. You're in the top 5 or whatever, and you want to take him, go ahead. But he's going to lose some touches this year, some snaps. Maybe not touches, but some snaps, and that'll lead less touches. Hassan Haskins is going to be used. They've been looking for him.
He's on my dynasty team. I picked him up. I saw him sitting out there. I'm like, Henry's going to eventually. He's at that age group where they're saying running backs start to tend to trail down from here and so on and so forth. I thought Evans was going to be the guy, but Evans still could technically be the guy over in Chicago with all the injuries and everybody, especially Monty not doing that great. Alec Pierce, man, he's been showing up in practice. They've been talking a lot about him. Somebody else from the AFC South to pay attention to. All right. Next one here is the AFC West.
Oh, we mentioned Drake. He'll get picked up somewhere else. So maybe I wasn't a year ahead, or maybe I was. I don't know. It's still to be told. It was a question mark thing. And I'm still taking Javonte at pick 5 and 6. Nothing's changed. Still doing it. You're in a league with me, and you want him. You better have pick 1 through 4, 1 through 5, and you better take him because I'm taking him. I'm not waiting for him, hopefully, to come back second round. He's my pick.
I like it, man. We were actually just talking about that beforehand, how I'm adjusting my mock draft, believing everything that Guess is saying for a couple of these leagues, because I see that Javonte's sitting out there in the second round, and I know I have to stay away from him because this man's taking him at 6 or 5, wherever he is. What's going on with KC? Who's this kid Pacheco, man? I mean, they're talking it's going to be like a 4 running back type of situation. Yeah. Is it something just to stay away from? Is Pacheco somebody I should be looking at? I thought Rojo was going to get the love, but they seem to be talking this kid up.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pacheco you can probably grab right at the end, depending on how many rounds you got. Yeah, they don't like CEH. How many years have I been saying that? They don't like him. It's a failed draft pick. He's played okay, but Andy Reid doesn't like him. He's not for their system. So they will do what they need to do. McKinnon's still there, and he's going to get some love, right? And Derek Gore, I'm sure will do something. Rojo, they're saying he might get cut. We'll find out. But CEH is the one you worry about. If you need some RB depth towards the end, what's up, Sean? If you need it, you can grab Pacheco towards the end because they like him. They like him a lot.
It's great. I'm looking at the depth chart for fantasy over here on one of these sites, and they have 8 running backs listed for the Kansas City Chiefs. 8. Isn't that crazy?
It's like the Eagles.
Oh, yeah. We'll get to them. But you know what? We'll get to them right now. What Eagles? And that's another thing. Sanders, you got Gainwell, Boston Scott. Am I staying away from all these guys? Am I drafting one of them in hopes that that's the one that's going to get it that week? Or is it going to kind of be a rotation?
Yeah, I would stay away from them. See, a couple people had showed their drafts and whatever. A couple people drafted Sanders. And, you know, he's got skills, but we liked what's his face? I always want to say Wendell Smallwood. It's not Wendell Smallwood. The dude that they got last year. I can't even think of his name right now. What the heck?
Huntley?
Oh, the guy they drafted last year. He's the best one out of them all, but he's not going to be a 3-down back. He's not going to be the main guy, but they're saying that they're going to use him in key situations. I always want to call him Smallwood. Use the rook Gainwell.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Kenneth Gainwell.
So they're going to use him in key situations. They say Sanders is the guy. They got Boston Scott still. They probably still have Wendell Smallwood. So I'm staying away from the Eagles. I didn't even mention them. What I did mention was Sterling Shepard as a negative. Stay away. Just can't stay healthy. Still not healthy. That's why we liked Wandale, and that's why we like Kadarius Toney. And I did mention as a question mark Jalen Tolbert, and like a couple days passed by, I was like, I'd never talked about Simi Fehoko.
I'm sorry, watch your mouth there, sir.
Right? He was a rookie, Josue Gainwell. He was a rookie last year and didn't really get much burn. Would not be surprised if he gets some burn. Simi, Simi Fehoko, I believe is how you pronounce it.
I'm sorry, this is a G-rated show there, sir.
What's going to happen with the Cowboys is one or two guys are going to pop out of nowhere, and they're going to be startable. But weeks 2, 3, 4, you know, Gallup can't stay healthy. CD, I don't think is a wide receiver 1. He's being drafted very high, mostly because people I feel like are overdrafting him. They're like, oh, Cooper's not there. It's going to be CD. He's not that guy. I don't think he's that guy. Is he great? Sure. but I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's going to be like a Keenan Allen, um, Devontae Adams, you know, even a Cortland Sutton. And he's got Jerry Judy to deal with. I would draft Cortland Sutton before I drafted CeeDee Lamb.
What about Dotson from the Commanders? A lot of talk on him, and he's showing off. Somebody else that they really are high on, who's taking Curtis Samuel's spot, is the De'Ami Brown. He's been getting a lot of love from Rivera,
I loved him last year. He didn't get any burn last year. I loved him. He's a guy. If you're in the card game, wide receivers, their cards don't go for too much money. It's really just QBs and the eventual running back. But De'Ami Brown is somebody you can get for a couple bucks, and if he shows out, they could be worth, I don't know, you could quadruple your money probably easily.
Sean says, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
So we got a lot of comments here. If you weren't here in the beginning, anybody that likes the post or loves it or laughs at it or gets mad at it or cries about it, hit it and make a comment. You go on a list. We will randomize the list. The winner gets a free t-shirt. We'll do this a couple times, at least throughout the season. We want to get the participation up. NFC North.
All right. I'm also going to add share it as well. And maybe we'll even do something else where we'll double if you share. All right. NFC North. No, double your entries on the list. Not two shirts, meaning double the entries on the list for the randomization if you share.
Maybe we send them some pants too.
No. So I started off saying for the AFC North, like, man, how do you not know this name now?
Yes.
The NFC North, go for it.
We just did it. Oh, no, we didn't. We did the NFC East. Where the hell am I? Well, Dubs, and the RB1 for each team was our negative. I got nothing. What do you got?
NFC North, your man.
Mooney?
No, Dubs.
Well, yeah. Well, everybody knows him now. It's too late.
That's what I'm saying. But you were the first one who brought up. They say, hey, watch this kid, Romeo Dubs. And what have we seen the last 2 weeks? That name has just been popping up everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I told you.
It's so funny. Like, there's video, like, you know how Yahoo has certain like videos and stuff like that about players.
Yeah.
Yo, they started making videos for him already.
Yeah, I know they did.
What?
That's why, like, that's what we do. We're prospectors, right? I let you know the inside scoop from outside the box. Who you want to have before everybody else. Unfortunately, it was meaningless, right? And you know he still could be their third or fourth, but Watkins will get hurt, Cobb will get hurt, and as long as he catches the ball and does everything right, Rodgers clearly likes him already. So,
all right. Sorry, hold on one sec.
That's right. Let's finish these two because we got a lot of questions, and tonight's about the people.
All right, NFC South, go for it.
Baker, he's the starter. We didn't see that coming. So,
your man Baker, man. I was telling you before we started the show, but I saw an article that someone was saying, I want to say it was Sports Illustrated, something like that, but that the Carolina Panthers can be this year's Cincinnati Bengals to what they were last year. I think that's a bold statement. Baker needs to prove a lot, but they do have offensive weapons. They do have a pretty decent defense. Is it surprising if that would happen? I think so, to a certain degree, but not that far-fetched, I guess, to a certain degree, too.
Yeah, I mean, well, the Browns were supposed to win it all last year in the preseason. So Baker was a part of that. And they had less weapons, I would say, right? Than,
yeah.
I mean, at the very least, equivalent. And the Panthers' defense was kind of ridiculous last year, right? So I don't know. It's not out of the woodwork, but like we talked about, like I mentioned you, Terrace Marshall's got to show up. And I put out that little TikTok video. I think I had mentioned him. I got a feeling he's going to be somebody that ends up being on teams. Whereas last year he started out hot. He was a big name rookie, big shiny new toy. Everybody was drafting him, and he stunk. Their quarterback stunk. CMC got hurt. And people forgot about them. And those are the type of people this year that I'm looking at. If you haven't been able to figure that out already, I mean, we talked about the Amy Brown, Simi Fehoko, Terrace Marshall, right? These types of guys who last year were supposed to be kind of something. Josh Palmer, right? Darko had mentioned him. Um, I think that they flunked the rookie season. I think they're going to have a big sophomore boost. Those are the types of guys that I'm looking at. A lot of people are going to be chasing these rookies. I'm chasing the second year guys because I think that they're going to make a splash.
All right, let's go over to the NFC West.
Uh, you know, I had the negative. I had Elijah Mitchell, and he's my boy. We brought up his name before anybody knew what it was last year, opening day. Um, and that was before Trey Sermon was ruled out. We were like Elijah Mitchell, and then he was ruled out, and then after that, everybody knew Elijah Mitchell. But I had him as a negative, and I still kind of do. And I was talking to Darko last night, and Tyron Davis Pierce, TDP, the rookie they got. They just have 18, and I think I told him 76 running backs.
Yeah.
So Elijah Mitchell, I like him. He's probably the best one, but I do think Sermon gets a little better this year. TDP, we still got Wilson, I think.
Jeff Wilson Jr. They have that kid Hasty as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, to Michael Hasty. So it's just where he's being drafted. I'm going to let somebody else take him.
Agreed. All right.
Right.
Let's jump into some questions.
Yeah.
All right. Chris, you said hello. What's up there, bud? Hope you're still watching. Michael with a long one here. All right. Had my super flex draft yesterday. Had pick 2. Took Herbert over Taylor. Was that the right move? Let's start with that.
Super flex? Yeah. How many teams? It's probably 12. So you're thinking now you got to go through everybody taking one quarterback, a lot of people taking 2 quarterbacks. Now you're right back at pick 23. You're picking maybe the 15th best QB. I'm not huge on Justin Herbert. And I was actually sitting watching, I don't know what I was watching, maybe Practical Jokers, who the heck knows, but staring at the TV, just sort of decompressing one day. And we talk about all the time, the card game, sports cards, but fantasy as well. And everybody loves Justin Herbert. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I'm not saying he's bad, but really, what has he done? He's had a couple really good games. Like, has he shown to be a top 10 quarterback in the league? It's an honest question.
Yeah.
You can say yes, he has, and I'll be wrong. But I don't know. I haven't seen that.
I think it's the potential that they're seeing in him, this size, his mobility, the fact that he does have a good core of receivers, and he's not scared to throw the long ball. I think it has a lot to do with the way they're built right now. Remember, Taylor was the starter last year. If they don't puncture his lung, you don't see Herbert on the field. He's not your week 1 starter. And that's where I think the hype, or was not last year, maybe the year, whatever it was. But still, he wasn't even supposed to be the starter. So I really think that grabbed people's attention, saying, hey, look how good he could be. Because he does show, I guess, signs of it. But I could see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to guess, and the comments probably come in down here. I see he wrote 14. I'm not sure what that means.
14-team league.
Okay. So, yeah. So, it's good to take a quarterback there over Taylor. I get that. I don't know. I would imagine Josh Allen went number 1.
I would think that would probably be right, yeah.
So, it's pretty much Herbert or Lamar at that point. And so you have the durability of Herbert. So it's not terrible. All right, next part.
All right. I also waited too long to take my second QB and got stuck in Mariota. Can you see him being productive at all, or Ritter take the starting job sooner rather than later?
I think Mariota is going to do pretty well.
I agree, man.
Well enough. And I'd be interested to know who your third quarterback is, because you need 3. So
he took a shot late on Watson.
Okay, so I don't know the bye weeks. I probably should study these a little bit, but I don't know them. But I'm going to say all you need is Mariota uh, to be able to get you to week 12 or 13 whenever Watson comes back. Now, your issue is going to be, well, what happens when Herbert and Mariota are on bye um, and Watson's not back yet? So you got to have a fourth quarterback. So you got an idea for that?
He said, I'm also thinking about picking up Jimmy G, as I've seen Seattle and the Browns are both waiting for him to be released.
Um, I'm surprised that nobody in a super flex has picked up Jimmy G. And if you've got somebody at the end of your bench that you're really not going to use, and he's out there and he's the best out there, then I would probably do that. And then you just do this.
Somebody else I would pay attention to also is Sam Darnold. That could be another spot filler, especially for a Seattle who's looking for somebody. Especially if one of these guys, like a Geno Smith or Locke or all these names, he could be another one that could be thrown in the bucket. Especially that Baker was named the starter. If Baker plays well, they may be wanting to move him. That would be again somebody I would pay attention to. But
Yeah.
all right, Sean, what's up, bud?
Um,
Josue, thoughts on McCole Hardman? I have both MVS and Hardman. Try to trade one or drop either one for like a Colts wide receiver Pierce, 5.5 PPR.
I really liked Hardman going into the offseason. Um, especially when they got rid of Tyreek Hill, because we've said year after year since Hardman was drafted that he's basically Tyreek Hill, and he's worthless as long as Tyreek Hill is healthy. And whenever Hill was out, Hardman came in and did well. But I feel like they've kind of gotten a little down on Hardman. Did he get hurt recently or drop some balls or something? But I feel like they've gotten down a little bit on him. They're also starting to use, is it Fortson? Dotson? Something like that. The tight end they drafted, and they still have Noah Gray there and Kelsey. I would imagine they use a couple two tight end sets more this year, and they have MBS. A lot of people are high on Juju. I'm not high on Juju. I can't remember if it was you, Josue, but somebody drafted him. It was like trade him, package him up with something. Um, I like Hardman, and he has a relationship with Mahomes. He's the elder statesman there now, right? He's been there pretty much the longest, unless you Pringle or one of these weirdos. But I like.
Either.
Oh, okay, well even better. I feel like I would just hold on to both of them and wait and see if one of them pops more than the other consistently. Because the worst thing you can do is drop Hardman for Pierce, and then Hardman's one that blows up and MVS sucks, or vice versa. So just hold on to them. It's a firepower offense. You got them both. See what happens for a couple weeks. Hopefully, you watch us each Sunday or the recorded shows that we're doing this year, listing the games, and see how we feel, which one you should be playing, and hopefully you just plug the right one in each week. But I would hold on to both for now. Pierce, Rob, you and I talked about Pierce. I brought up Pierce in the first show we did. I like him. I like him a lot, like Jim Carrey. But the thing is, he's down on the pecking order. He's got his work its way up. They're going to play Paris Campbell until Paris Campbell sucks or gets hurt. And Pittman's the guy there, and I think they got Doolin and a couple other guys. So he's got to work his way up. Could he wind up being their slot guy? Sure. But I would just hold on to MVS and Hardman because one of them will more than likely be the one, and then you know that.
I know you're down on Juju, and I can see why you would be down on Juju. I think they need to figure out who that person's going to be that's going to replace Hill. They already know they have Kelsey. Kelsey could be even more targeted and so on and so forth, the comfort level. I think the thing that makes me nervous is there's going to be times where you're going to have to do almost like double tight end send. So you may see Kelsey and Gray. Who are going to be those two receivers that are going to be on the field then? Is it going to be Juju and MVS? Is it going to be Juju and Hardman? Could they give the love to Sky Moore as well? I mean, he's not. He got drafted pretty high, so that's what makes me worried about some of these KC receivers. Again, Juju being on that pecking order, they're going to try to use him at number one when they shouldn't, but I still think the target share could be there for him. In my opinion, I would go MVS as well, just because of the home run shot. I know Hardman has it as well. MVS does a little bit more for you.
Yeah. The one thing I would consider, Josue, and this would just alleviate any stresses, package them both together and get yourself a bona fide wide receiver 1/2, a stud, and open up a bench spot. And then pick up Pierce with that bench spot. Get rid of the headache of which KC wide receiver is it going to be. Don't even worry about it. If the season ends and MVS is the wide receiver 1 in all of the world, so be it. You didn't have to deal with it. Package them up, see if somebody wants to, see if somebody's salivating over Patrick Mahomes. Just be like, hey, I got MVS and Hardman. Who else is, they're going to be the guys. You want them? All you got to do is give me, I don't know, Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, I was going to say a Jerry Jeudy. Dude, that's actually funny that you said. I would even go a Jerry Jeudy type, something like that,
Yeah. And then you just don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. You know that Casey's going to produce, but again, that question mark is how the offense will run. I would go to a more short offense then if you're going to try to package them up, like a Denver, like your Rams, like even an Allen Robinson or something like that.
Allen Robinson would be a steal right there for those
so
two. I would do that.
Okay. Gainwell, yes, that was from before. What the fuck are you talking about? All right. Woohoo. All right, Darko.
His comment. He's got a comment.
All right. What would you do having Godwin as flex option and having Evans? What could you get for trading Godwin?
Yeah, Brandon. I'm down on, just like I kind of was last year, for the reason of I'm down on Tampa Bay wide receivers. Kind of the same exact reason you're talking about KC. It was the same exact situation last year with Tampa Bay. It's which guy do you play which week? Last year, 16 weeks is a fantasy season, right? Straight through 17 weeks. Right?
17.
So 17 weeks. I would say we probably picked the right Tampa Bay wide receiver, at least like 13 or 14.
It seemed that way.
I can't guarantee that will happen again, but Godwin's a little banged up. And from way back when, I'm not sure if you were there with us or not, but thank you for being with us now. Godwin was my dude. I was telling people about Godwin way back before Godwin was Godwin. But I'm kind of down on him even more than I am Evans, just because coming back from that injury, still not 100%. I would try to trade Godwin. Brandon, I'd love to take a look at your team. If you want to post it on the page, though, because we're not really doing PMs anymore unless you join in through Patreon. But drop it in the group, your roster. And if you have anybody who you have in mind who might be interested in taking Godwin off your hands, that would help as well. So that way we can take a look at their roster. But if you're short on running backs, Godwin's got a lot of name value. You could probably get a solid running back too for Godwin if a team happens to have running backs and you need running backs, or maybe you get a wide receiver. So let's see your roster. Post it, make a post, and we'll take a look at it later on or tomorrow.
Somebody I would kind of look at, like you're mentioning RB2, Ramondre Stevenson. Everybody still has Harris ahead of him. That would be kind of a decent trade for Godwin, because Godwin's still not 100% healthy. Don't get me wrong. Godwin can outproduce as far as a numbers wise if he is healthy. But if you're in need of a running back, a lot of people aren't high on Stevenson because they're drafting Harris first. So that could be somebody to go after.
We pretty much opened up the show. That was our opening division, saying Ramondre Stevenson needs to be drafted before Damian Harris is going to be in the James White role. You need to get him on your team, unless you're in my league. That's the key.
What are the odds that B Rob can be this year's J Rob?
I don't know, Darko. This is twofold here. The odds that B Rob can be this year's J Rob. Well, for one, Darko, and you were against me on this. Nobody called J Rob other than me. Nobody. And you were even like, where are you pulling these names out of the hat? I'm like, dude, he's amazing. He was like the best running back in his division. Like, I'm telling you. And he killed it. He had no hype other than on Answers by Guess. By me. Even Rob was like, who the heck? What?
Yeah, I had no clue who he was.
Everybody wanted Divino Zigbo. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? People are going to picking up Divino Zigbo, and there was some other schmuck that people were picking. Like, you need to go pick up James Robinson. He's going to be the guy. So he can't be this year's J Rob because everybody knows about Brian Robinson already. But I think he's going to be really good. And I think we can get him late in drafts. And I think, and I kind of mentioned this a couple weeks ago, that I was kind of down on Gibson. And the reason I was kind of down on Gibson is because he kind of underperformed. Can't stay healthy. They drafted this rookie. Now more and more people are learning about this guy. He's going to go up the draft board. So he's definitely somebody I would want to take. And I saw that you grabbed him, I think, last night. I like him. I like him. And, you know, Rob, you and I, we had Gibson last year on our team in the ABG League. We didn't want him, but we kind of had to take him because people kept snatching our picks. And he killed us and left a bad taste in my mouth. But the honest truth, you know, with no bias or any of that, is that he's fallen out of favor there. And Brian Robinson Jr., you know, what is up with all these people? First, I'm a tangent here because this is, I look at player lists and everything, and guys that I'd seen last year and for like 3-4 years, and all of a sudden they got a 2 next to their name. All of a sudden people are the second. All of a sudden people are third. All of a sudden people are juniors. What is that about?
It's the new thing. That's what everybody putting senior on there.
You went your whole damn life through college, through a couple years in the pros, you were just Bill Simpson. Now all of a sudden you want to be Bill Simpson the third? What the hell? It's ridiculous. If you were Bill Simpson the third, you should have been Bill Simpson the third since day one. And I don't know. So anyways, Brian Robinson Jr., yeah, you want to draft him. It's a name you need to know if you don't know him. That's who Darko's talking about, B-Rob.
All right. Actually, leading into this good segue, what would you do with Gibson? What would you trade him for in Dynasty?
Yeah, I'd want to trade him while his value's high. And listen, he could end up having a really good year. And he could end up kicking yourself. But he's somebody that I liked last year. Didn't love him, liked him. And I'm souring on him a little bit, right, wrong, or indifferent. I'd obviously want to get a running back, and I want to get a running back that I think is going to be one of the best. And Brandon, I don't know if you were with us last week, but again, you're with us now. I'd be going after Javonte. Oh, there might be somebody in your league that's holding on to Javonte Williams that knows that Gordon's there. Maybe he's a old-timer. He sees that 50-50 split that people are worried about that's not going to happen. And you could probably trade Gibson and get Javonte. Since it's a dynasty league, ooh, doggy. Next year, the year after, you've got yourselves the number one running back in the league. At least a 1B to JT, to Sheezy, and Easy.
What?
Yeah.
All right.
Try that. I'm shooting for the stars. This is the time. This is the time to do that. And even if it's wrong, even if it winds up being a mistake, you gotta shoot that shot now. Because week 1 goes by, if Gibson sucks, if Javonte's amazing, he's never going to trade you that. And it could be the opposite. Javonte could suck, and Gibson could be amazing. And you'd be like, it's my guess. What is that old fart talking to me about? But you got to shoot a shot. If you're looking to get rid of them,
Kobe.
you go for somebody who I am taking pick 5, who I am taking pick 6 into my 2 leagues that I know in my draft spot that are left to draft. What were you going to say, Rob?
Excellent question. I don't know.
Oh, well.
All right. Alan with Sammy Watkins has a connection with Rodgers. Mark it down.
I'm just hoping his bones stay connected. That's the problem. There's always been the problem with Sammy Watkins. Back to his days in Buffalo. He can't stay healthy. If he stays healthy, Alan, I will agree with you, and I'll say right now, if Sammy Watkins stays healthy, miraculously, if Green Bay, maybe the frozen cold, works like a gorilla glue, and he stays healthy this entire season, he will have a ridiculous season, without a doubt, because he's got all the talent in the world. He just can't stay healthy. But if he does, he will be a draft day steal, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
All right. He is practicing already, saying back week 1 through 3. I guess that's for Gibson.
Godwin, I think.
Oh, Godwin. Sorry. Yes, even better.
Yeah. Look the movement. Ramondre, Rob, you nailed it. I think that's a perfect. Like if you need a running back, you can get Ramondre Stevenson for Chris Godwin. I would do that.
All right. Sean with in our league, Jonathan Taylor, probably a no-brainer. Any ideas if I want to get cute with it?
You're the one pick.
He's the number 1.
I don't think you get cute with it. I really don't. I mean, I don't think there's a reason, really. Is there? I mean, what are you going to do? You're gonna draft Jamar Chase. You're gonna have roller coaster weeks. You're gonna draft Cooper Kupp, and you're gonna have a letdown season in comparison to last year because Allen Robinson's there and he's gonna ball out. And everybody, whether they can or can't, that'll be the difference. It's going to be looking at Cooper Kupp differently than they did last year. The offseason, he's going to be the focus. You got to from week to week. NFL, it's a little harder to switch up from week to week. But when you got a whole offseason to figure out, okay, we got to play the Rams. We got to get a game plan for 12 weeks from now. What are we going to do when we play the Rams? We got to guard Cooper Kupp. They're already planning that now. They're not planning for week 1 only. They have preparations in order. He's going to have an amazing year. But you don't want to take him to 1. Derrick Henry, Hassan Hass is going to eat into him. Dalvin Cook can't stay healthy. Chris McCaffrey, do you want to?
That's the only person I would say that you would think would be if you got cute. If a healthy CMC is probably the best back in the league. I mean, we saw it, but are you taking that chance? I mean, I hate to say it this way. He was out most of last year with a toe injury, with a nail injury, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong, that's probably pretty painful if you're a running back, obviously. But can you take that chance? Jonathan Taylor has produced. He has a better quarterback now. He's probably way better than Carson Wentz and Matt Ryan. If you give Matt Ryan time, I mean, I really just think the sky's limit. The only thing you got to be concerned about with Jonathan Taylor is that they have Hines. I know Philip Lindsay isn't a big name, but those are the little dunk offs that Matt Ryan likes to do. And those guys would definitely eat off of Jonathan Taylor's time if that's what they're playing or how their game or their offense is going to play.
Yeah, listen, CMC is 30 points a game, 30 points a week if he's out there. So if you're getting cute, I guess that's where you get cute.
And we were just talking before the show, too. I was mentioning CMC. I want to see Hubbard get some more, and I hate the fact that Donta Foreman's there because he'll be the one to vulture your 1-yard touchdowns and stuff like that to keep CMC healthy now because they don't want to take they overused him on the goal line where he would get blown up. Now you have a big brawler in CMC. I'm sorry, in Donta Foreman that can take that over the goal line for you and not have to worry about getting hurt from that perspective. So, I mean, it's JT has to be it. I mean, he's just going one everywhere. I would take him at number 1 if I had the 1 pick.
There is history though when there's this ridiculous of a consensus at number 1 that it doesn't pan out.
trying to think who was the last time.
The only thing.
I remember Adrian Peterson back in 2008, 2009 or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, was the number one overall. But
LT was always amazing.
yeah, dude. I had LT and Peterson on a lot of teams. I had the 1 year where I had Brady and Randy Moss together on New England. I think I didn't lose a game that year. It was amazing. And I was like new to fantasy football then. I was like, I mean, I remember I knew players, but holy moly, I took the league by storm. I actually have a quick question for you before we move on to the next one here. What are your thoughts on Zamir White? You started off the show by saying Drake's gone, you're in your feelings. Everyone's saying Zamir White's going to be now that guy that's taking over that spot. Are you agreeing with that? Because I think I don't see that happening.
Well, I would say, why else would they feel okay getting rid of Drake? And there are murmuring whispers that they don't like Jacobs all that much. So he just might be, Rob. He just might be.
Okay. I don't know. I like Zamir White. Don't get me wrong. I think Josh Jacobs, people are underestimating him this year. It's a contract year. If he doesn't do well this year, he's probably out of the. He's not going to be a starter anytime soon.
No.
But a name that kind of sticks out to me, I know it sounds silly. They have Amir Abdullah on that team. Amir Abdullah was always that thorn in the side of running backs on Detroit when he was even last year with Minnesota. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, well, they have a lot of backs.
They do.
So I think that they're going to give everybody a chance to unseat Jacobs, because I don't think that they are going to keep him around next year. So what would be smart, you mentioned this, I don't remember who it was last year, a couple of years ago. Run him into the ground. You know you're not signing him. Run him into the ground, right? That Jacobs could be your underdog sleeper pick if he performs well, because if the Raiders were smart, they would use him as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to sign him. Let's beat him up. Let's get every last ounce out of him. And we'll see. But they've got a lot of guys there. You mentioned White, you mentioned Abdullah. And they must feel good enough about those two to let Drake go.
Okay. I don't know. I was kind of just pondering. I'm looking at different depth charts and stuff like that, and it's just I think Zamir White's going to be good. I just think that underestimating him, people are going to be drafting him higher and stuff like that now, probably where Drake was when people were drafting. And I just don't know if the value's there, but we'll see what happens. Darko says truth. I believe this is the J-Rob situation that compared to Ozigbo.
Yeah.
Jeremy, didn't know there was a show today. Yeah, we kind of came in late, to be honest with you, dude. My work schedule has been atrocious. So we're just trying to fit in whenever we can right now, to be honest with you.
I'm going to give another thing here. Some people might not know this. Most of you might know it. I don't know. You can go on the group page and you can click on the bell or on the dots. And you can click on notifications. And then there's like 3 options. And if you hit the check mark on the one that's on the top, it'll be like all activity. I think by default, it's like highlights. So what it is if you click the all activity, anytime anyone posts anything in our group, you'll get a notification for it. Otherwise, you won't get notifications like when I post something a few hours before showtime for a surprise special. But if you had that clicked, notifications, all posts, then like, boom, you would have got a notification. Oh, Instant Guest going live in a couple hours. All right, I got to kick my girl out. Boom.
You get to see these sexy faces.
What's better?
All right. Brandon, I'm pretty deep at running back. I have Gibson, Dillon, Fournette, Jacobs, Penny, Gainwell, and Mostert. Man, it's pretty deep. My receivers are Cooper, Higgins, Adams, Dubs, Boyd, and Duvernay. This was based on the advice you were giving him earlier, probably about Gibson.
I mean, if you don't like Gibson, then get a running back you do like. Because Rob, both and we both like Dylan. Fournette, I like Fournette. I loved him on Jacksonville, but for some reason something soured when he went to Tampa Bay. But he gets it done. But they got 12 other running backs there as well, and they
I was going to
just
say
drafted
36.
Jacobs. We just talked about Penny. If he can stay healthy, he's great. But they also did just draft a rookie as well. Gainwell, 9,000 running backs. Mostert, he's where? Miami now?
Yeah, I believe so. Let me check.
Where Mostert is. He can't stay healthy.
Yeah, correct. He's in Miami.
And they got a bunch of running backs still. So you have, I guess, like every team has a bunch of running backs. So it doesn't really matter.
The depth chart for running backs this year is the most I've ever seen.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
For fans. But if you don't like Gibson, then you got to move him. So you find a running back you like. Wide receivers are okay. Yeah, they're pretty good.
Somebody that I would kind of look for, maybe as a little package, is trying to get somebody that has Spiller from Los Angeles, the Chargers. If you can give up Gibson, get Spiller and something else to fill like a tight end void, or even just get another wide receiver for depth and so on, I really think Spiller and Kelly are going to eat in tremendously into Eckler this year. Eckler was looking for help last year. He says he couldn't do it all. He came out and so on and so forth. I really think it's going to be even more this year.
Well, here's the only problem I have with that. Yeah, I like Isaiah Spiller. No problem with him. And yeah, I think Joshua Kelly sucks. And he's not very good. He had a couple splashes, but he's a plotter. But both of them, yes, are going to eat into Eckler, but both of them are going to eat into each other.
I'm saying, I would go for Spiller I'm pretty sure it's the person who doesn't have Spiller and Kelly on their team. I'm saying I would be looking at those guys, Spiller first, because it's a dynasty league, if I'm not mistaken, he was saying. So somebody you got to kind of think of who's going to be taking over for Eckler that you can get value at now and who could potentially be the starting running back from that perspective.
I still think he needs a running back. I guess he doesn't need a running back this year. He's got decent enough running backs.
Just between Dylan, Jacobs, and Penny, I mean, you usually start two running backs. I think you can kind of finagle your way through with those. But
you do like a Gibson, Mostert, get Spiller. I don't know who your tight ends are, but maybe that was Rob's idea. Get like a tight end to help you out there. Maybe you get a draft pick.
Yeah, especially Dynasty League.
You're giving away Gibson, and you're getting an unproven rookie that most people don't even know about. So yeah, you could probably get a pretty good draft pick and set yourself up for the future. It's not a bad idea. You got the depth to do something like that. You have a team that can win now, and if you can get rid of some of the pieces that you might not necessarily want, and set yourself up to win next year at the same time as setting yourself up to win this year, I mean that's what it's all about.
All right, he says his tight end is Kittle. QBs are Josh Allen and Brady.
Yeah. I'm not worried about QBs.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
just
play around.
Throwing it out there. Yeah, I would say, like he said, post it onto the group. Everybody, we can give opinions as to maybe some people that you're looking to trade with, or possibly go from there, or people from your league. Yeah. All right. He said he traded for CMC.
So he was heartbroken.
Yep, that sucks.
Yep.
Last time was Barkley. Yep, that was a consensus number one bust. Yep, that makes sense. I had Saquon and CMC in their rookie year. That was a good rookie year for both of them. Crazy season, but still didn't get.
That's it.
Oh, that sucks. Only lost one regular. Yeah, with those two guys, the way they were going, mind blowing. All right, Jeremy here. I can't say much. ABG, I have pick 3, and in my league, they like to do ESPN randomize an hour before the draft. Can't do much prep.
That's old school. That's how it used to go. And some leagues still do it that way. I prefer not to. Most leagues, at least everyone I'm in, has moved away from that one way or another, whether they use random.org, draw names out of the hat like this old man. I mean, there's many different ways to do it. The hour before the draft is how it used to be. You'd sign on and you're like, boom, 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 and pop on. And you're like, pick 4. What the heck am I going to do? That's the worst. That's how it used to be, though. Maybe you can convince them to do it differently next year. But
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that, man.
what I'm going to say is, but your disadvantage is also their disadvantage. So the way you prep is you do a couple mock drafts, you do I don't know if there's 12 teams, you do 1 through 4 a couple times, you do 5 through 8 a couple times, 9 through 12 a couple times, and just kind of get a feel for who's going where, what type of teams you can come up with. So at least you got some sort of skeleton to work off of. But it can be done, like I said, it's old school. It was done for decades.
All right, and we already mentioned the tight end for who was Kittle. I got another one for you. So Najee obviously is the number 1 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
This kid Warren seems to be doing fantastic. Obviously, they have Pickens, they have Pickett. Can Pittsburgh actually be a surprise team this year? I know Trubisky's the starter, but I mean, if Trubisky doesn't play well, I can see Pickett getting in there fairly soon. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like Trubisky. Pickett looks okay so far. I think Trubisky will be more than fine. I think he got a raw deal in Chicago. Played well as a backup where Buffalo, right? Um, and he was learning from or sitting behind and watching Josh Allen. That can't hurt. He's quickly become top tier. And they want to take a little off of Najee, which is crazy, only in his second year. So yeah, I mean Warren's definitely, and everybody else stinks. All their other backups, and they have stunk forever. And I know that we'll get to week 8, and Najee will be hurt, and people will be like, "Oh, do I pick up Benny Grimes or whatever the heck his name is?"
Benny Snell.
Benny Snell. It's like, no, you don't pick up Benny Snell. So yeah, definitely Warren. If you're picking up Pittsburgh running back, then that's one. And their wide receivers core, I'm starting to warm. This is weird because everybody that's been with us for years, because I told you way back when that he was going to be Antonio Brown, Deontay knows that I love Deontay. I'm starting to warm up to Chase. I think Claypool's going to have a nice year this year. I got a real good feeling because I feel like the rookie, was it Pickens?
Yep.
I feel like the rookie is going to open things up a little bit so that Claypool can work underneath some and take a little bit. And I think those 3 are going to do what they couldn't do with Juju and the other 2 and 90-year-old decrepit Ben. So I think the quarterback is going to be huge. A lot of people were huge on Claypool going into last year, right? Because he had his 4 TD game 2 years ago. Claypool. Let me lick on it, Claypool. And he stunk, but he stunk injury and Big Ben. The quarterback play is going to skyrocket his value, and I think he's being way underdrafted at this point in time. Chase Claypool.
So you hated Claypool last year. You did. You hated him.
Yep.
All right. Would you take Najee over Henry? I'm going to say yes. And I'll give you my reasons. I'll let you answer though first.
I don't know because I feel like Tennessee's line is so much better. And I feel like if they get close, it's almost a guarantee that Henry's going to punch it in. And I don't know if that's the case with Najee. So I don't know. I think I would take Henry over Najee.
Okay. I can see what you're saying there. I know. I just really think Najee's just going to be on the field tremendously. I mean, don't get me wrong. Warren's kind of helping that situation where he may not be on the field 100% of the time. Obviously, I mean, he's going to get breaks and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's just I know you say Najee will be hurt by week 8 and so on and so. I really just think this kid's going to be good this year, man.
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know if he's going to be hurt. I'm saying if he does, somebody's
Oh,
going to
you
be
could
like,
pick up
pick
that
up
player.
Eddie now. Hell no. Don't. No. Just no. Get somebody else.
Betty Grimes.
But yeah, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but yeah, no, I get it. And listen, if they hadn't said that they wanted to take a little bit off of Najee's plate this year, and their line was a little bit better, then I would go Najee over Henry. But I think that at least for one more year, I'll take Henry over Najee. As of now, August 22nd, 2022. That's how I feel. Now, it might come week 3, and somehow, some parallel universe, somebody's got both of these guys. Maybe it's a dynasty league. And they're like, which one should I play? I might be like Najee. And then, like, Jeremy will pop in and go, but you told me to draft Henry over Najee. Season. Sometimes things flop. It goes day to day. So go with your gut. Go with your gut. But I would take Henry over Najee. I think Rob is going to take Najee over Henry.
Yeah, I really just think what your rest of your draft is going to look like is going to be really persistent on what you take there. So if you take Najee in that situation, you got to look at bye weeks. I think Najee's bye week 9, if I'm not mistaken, and there's like 700 people that are bye week 9. So just be prepared for that situation, because I want to say 9 is like the most bye weeks for teams and stuff like that. So that's something to pay attention to and look at. All right. How soon does Pickett become the starting QB in Pittsburgh? He's by far the best QB on that roster, even as a rookie. Trubisky and Rudolph are just not good.
Rudolph is not good. Rudolph has never been good. I don't know why anybody ever thought he was good. He doesn't even look good. Trubisky's good. I would disagree with you there, Mike. I think Trubisky's good. I think Trubisky plays well. I think the only thing that would end up hurting Trubisky would be getting sacked a lot. But he's got some legs, move, and I don't know. I think if they're 2-5, 3-6, then you see Pickett. But if they're 6-2, 7-4, they're going to stick with Trubisky, I think. So it will just depend on how many games they win. I don't even know who they play week 1. I don't know who they play week 2.
I actually have the schedule up, and I was going to say the same exact thing, 2-5, because they have the Bengals the first week, which I don't think they'll take. They have the Patriots and Steelers are at home that game. They're on the road the first game. That's possibly a winnable game. Steelers at Browns. So that gets actually a toss-up, to be honest. They've usually played each other pretty well. Jets at Steelers. We'll see what happens with the whole Zach Wilson and what they're looking like. But then they got the Bills, the Bucks, and the Dolphins. I think 2-5 is realistic in that. Probably with a win against the Steelers and the Jets. And I think they can lose those other games.
7 games right there?
Yeah.
I feel like they could be 3-4 at worst right there.
Who are they beating? The Patriots, the Browns, and the Jets?
I think they beat Miami.
Okay. And they lose to one of those other two. Okay. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's definitely a possibility. Their schedule lightens up a little. Not really. I know the Steelers kind of have a tough schedule this year. Just because of how good they're – I mean, they're playing the Ravens twice. They got the Bengals twice. I mean, that's rough.
Michael, are you thinking about picking up Pickett in your Superflex? Is this why you asked? Just pick him up, man. Because if he becomes the starter, it's going to be before Watson comes back, and you're going to need him to fill in for a bye. You know, because Darko has him. Screw that. Doesn't matter anymore. I mean, I don't know. So pick up Trubisky, man. I think Trubisky's pretty good, and I think he's going to do good with those players. Listen, he was playing for Matt Nagy with no wide receivers, terrible offense, and they still made the playoffs a couple times. I think, right? At least one.
They definitely made the playoffs at least once. That was more for defense, but still.
So I think Trubisky's okay. I think he's going to do okay. I would not be surprised if Pickett doesn't see the field unless they are 2-5, 2-6, something around those range. If the ship explodes, I think that they have no problem. Listen, you see what's happening with Jordan Love, right? Dude sucked. That's my favorite team, if you don't know, the Packers. He was terrible last year. Absolutely disgusting. They should have beaten the Chiefs. When Aaron Rodgers was out, he couldn't even throw the damn ball. They somehow they lost. They took the lead at the end, and then they lost. But anyways, he was terrible. Now he's looking pretty good. Now, granted, he's not playing against top tier great, but he looks good. So I feel like Pittsburgh would have no problem letting Pickett sit and learn for a year at least behind Trubisky, so long as the team is competitive. I don't think they throw him in unless the ship is going down.
I pick what you're putting down there, sir. All right, guys, just remember real quick, like or comment gets you on a list for a randomize for a free t-shirt today.
Gotta do both.
Gotta do both. Sorry, gotta do both.
Like the video, laugh at the video, get mad at it, any of those, and comment, puts you on the list. We will random it, and we'll send you a free t-shirt.
I like it. All right. Alan with the question here. Number 2 overall, Eckler or Henry?
It's been a couple of years, but I'm just waiting for Eckler to get hurt. And I don't wish it upon him. He just plays so abusive. And he wants somebody to take some snaps away. Rob talked about how it's Kelly and Spiller could do that. I think Spiller more than Kelly. I mean, listen, PPR, he's a beast. I think I would just feel safer with Henry. And that's with me feeling down on Henry because I think Hassan Haskins is going to take some snaps and score some touchdowns that Henry would normally be the one scoring. I just feel like I would go safer with Henry for me. I don't know. For whatever reason, Eckler just rubs me the wrong way. Maybe because I know if I draft him, he'd get hurt and never play again. And that's my luck.
All right. I'm just thinking maybe Javonte goes 2nd overall and Najee and Henry are best available.
He's not going to go 2nd overall.
Which means Jeremy at 3 could possibly be taking Javonte.
I told everybody, if you want him, you have to, because I'm taking him at 5 or 6. I don't even know where I'm picking in which league. I just know one of them is 5, one of them is 6. I'm taking Javonte. I don't care. IDGAF, right? It's happening. So if you want him and you're before me, then take him. And then I'll worry about it after. He's not going 2nd. He's not going 2nd anywhere in the world. And I'm not making the mistake. Last year, I knew I should have taken Jonathan Taylor 5th when he was going like 12th or 15th. I knew I should have taken him 5th. I wussed out, and it ruined my year. And I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
IDGAF. There it is. I don't even know how to put them together. All right. Darko has me mention he drafted Pickett. Michael has several drafts this weekend, so that's probably why the question was coming up. That's where you're asking him. And Darko saying something will happen and Pickett will be this year's Herbert. Hopefully, it's not a punctured lung.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I see you on the sidelines with a syringe,
Jig him up. Jig him up.
call security.
Is wide receiver added to an option? Typically, I'm against it.
Are you talking about pick two? I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of people are going to take Cup. They're going to. I, I, I don't. I mean, you go back 2 years ago, and Rob, I think it was me and you, right? We were back to back or something. We're real close in the draft. And I told everybody in the preseason show, probably 2 years to the day, I was like, Devontae Adams is going to be the number one wide receiver in the league. And you were like, wow, whoa. I'm like, he's going to way outproduce Michael Thomas and all these other guys that you're drafting. And I took him, and I think the next pick, you took Michael Thomas, and the rest is history, man. Devontae Adams, that was the year, like 2 years ago, that he blew up on the scene. And everybody looking at Devontae Adams, best in the league, whatever. But nobody was thinking that before.
You're right. Michael Thomas, the year that he had, with how many receptions, and I mean, he was a stud.
So I'm never a fan of last year's wide receiver. I'm never a fan of last year's stats dictating what I do, first of all. You can't play that way. It means nothing. You don't get a bonus boost. But last year's top wide receiver rarely is the top wide receiver once again, and they're always overdrafted. Cooper Kupp, he's great. I think it was our first season. It was like Cooper Kupp's going to be a stud. Jared Goff, they love each other. Like this he's an animal. Finally, he was always good, but finally had the amazing year that helped them to win the Super Bowl. He was the best season ever by wide receiver. Teams are going to adjust to him. And people are going to take him at 2, and they're going to be disappointed because Allen Robinson is going to eat. They didn't have a wide receiver like that. Woods was good, but hurt. Odell, flash in the pan. It was Kupp, and Allen Robinson is going to eat for this team.
I mean, if Allen Robinson can get anywhere close to what he was with Trubisky in Chicago that year that he went off, he's going to be amazing. One thing I will say is, yes, I did draft Michael Thomas, but I flipped Michael Thomas and Jonathan Taylor that year for Kamara and Waller, and I believe my name is on the trophy. Is it on the trophy? It is, right?
I remember that trade. That completely turned around your season. Yep. Completely turned around. I think I had the best record that year, though. I think so dominant, and then somehow, as always, at least one or two somewhere. Yeah, and I think I would have outscored you in the championship if I'm not mistaken.
I think you lost in the
I won third place.
Before. Yeah, correct. Well, sometimes that's the way the cookie crumbles, right?
Oh, I played against Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs blowing up on like Christmas Eve or something.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I was so pissed. They both had Diggs had 3 touchdowns, and the team I was playing against was Allen and Diggs. Why do you bring up this crap?
You brought it up. Whatever. You brought it up. Who would you keep, Kupp or CMC, in 3 running back starts or 3 wide receiver starts, PPR?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
I'm going to keep CMC.
I'll probably keep Kupp.
Running backs are gold.
They are, but not if they're hurt.
True.
Kupp can do what he did last year. Take 20% off of it for the next 10 years. Kupp could be Wes Welker, plus 50%. And Wes Welker was pretty ridiculous with Brady. He plays a position and he plays it in a way that he's not getting murdered out there. He's slippery, squeaking, slimy, sliding, slipping, And I just feel like if it's dynasty type, even keeper, I could keep him. I'm not talking down on Kupp. I just think he's going to be overdrafted because people are going to take him at 2, and I don't think his stats aren't going to come anywhere close to what they were last year. I hope they do for him, but I don't think they will. But he's still going to have 100 catches for the next 10 years, at least 8. You get a slimy, slippery guy with 100 receptions for the next 8 years, and that's lock it up.
I can see what you're saying. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think you're okay with either one.
Yeah.
This is CMC has the best quarterback he's ever had right now in Baker. Even though they say Baker sucks, and he was still number 1 overall pick. He had Cam. I mean, Cam was nowhere close to a good quarterback.
No.
But Baker has that option. Yeah, I mean, I guess they'll maybe throwing the ball more. The thing that worries me is Stafford. He's already hurt. Stafford is the big part of Kupp. CMC at least can produce without having the quarterback. Kupp can't produce without his quarterback play. If Stafford's healthy, you're right. Kupp is the option. Stafford is your main concern in this whole entire equation. And obviously CMC staying healthy.
Yeah. I agree.
I can keep Diggs too.
So 1 out of the 3?
3, yeah.
I had a chance to get Diggs last year in a dynasty league. Towards the end of the season, the guy was kind of selling off assets. He wanted a first-round pick, and I ended up not doing it. And I ended up getting Chris Olave, who I really like, for the Saints, who might not be as good as Diggs, but he looks like he's pretty damn good. So we'll see. They need a quarterback, though, because I don't think it's Jameis. Book's not good. But anyways, because I feel like Diggs is going to just decline just a little, and Davis is going to ascend. Remember a couple years ago, was it last year? When did it been last year? Where I said Mooney was going to overtake A-Rod?
Yep.
I don't know if we're quite there, that Davis is going to overtake Diggs, but we're pretty damn close, I think. So, I feel like I would take Kupp. I think he's about 5 years younger, I think, than Diggs, if I'm not mistaken. At least 3 or 4. You can look it up.
Yeah. Another concern with Diggs as well, Jamison Crowder is going to go under the radar in that team. Jamison Crowder is going to be that safety net if he can stay healthy. So you're going to have Diggs on one side, you're going to have Davis on the other, you're going to have Knox as your tight end, and you're going to have Jamison Crowder, who's going to come out of nowhere, and he's going to be – who was the guy that you hated that always showed up?
Emmanuel Sanders.
He's going to be your Emmanuel Sanders type that's going to steal touchdowns and stuff like that from Diggs. Again, it's kind of flipping a coin between Kupp and CMC. I still think running backs are gold. I can see what Guess is saying as far as Kupp's, but Diggs is at a point where Josh Allen has so many other receivers. Will he have huge weeks? Yes, but I think the other guys will give you more steady play throughout the year.
Yeah, he'd be third choice for me.
All right. Jefferson or Kupp? They're saying Kirk Cousins looking good, man.
I would probably go Jefferson.
Yeah.
I think I would. He had the amazing, once he finally got to play rookie season, he had a solid year last year. I think this third year ascension, the old rule, third year wide receiver. I think Jefferson, I think he could be the top wide receiver this year. And I also think right behind him, maybe not so much. I was going to say like A-Rob and Pittman, but no. I think Jefferson could be your top wide receiver this year. I know everybody loves Chase, but it's just too much of a roller coaster for me. But he's probably the best. He's ridiculous, but there's just too many other mouths there. Darko, I would take Jefferson. Brandon, I'm not sure what you mean. Go ahead.
Diggs is younger than Cooper Kupp.
Get out of here.
by 6 months.
What? Oh,
November 29th, 1993, and Cup was June 15th,
so
1993.
did Diggs go pro as a sophomore?
He was drafted 2015, 5th round, 10th pick.
And Cup was 2017.
And Cup was 27.
So you must went pro as a sophomore, and Cup went pro as a senior. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
All right.
Learned something new. Diggs is younger. Wow. Okay, then.
You're going to regret it. Dum, dum, dum.
I'm not sure what he means. I hope I don't.
Crowder going to get traded. OBJ is going to Buffalo.
I also hope that he doesn't. I would feel really bad for Buffalo fans.
Who was recruiting him that I saw? Was it Von Miller that was telling him to come to Buffalo? OBJ? Pretty sure it was.
Who knows? Yeah, Cup is older.
Jefferson or Henry?
You know what the problem is? The problem, like, if you're in a position to take Henry, like, do a mock, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. If you're in a position, first 4 or 5 picks to take Henry, and you take Jefferson, by the time it comes back to you, if you're at least in a 12-man league, especially a 14, your running backs are kind of junk. I mean, you're running out there, you're RB1. You had a chance to get a stud. And believe me, like, I'm passing on all these guys, taking Javonte like a lunatic. But you just have to know that, like, if you're in the 4th pick, let's say, and you're like, I'm going to take Jefferson 4th, you leave Henry out there, and you can leave Mixon or all these other guys. I don't even know who's up there. When it comes back to you, you got to look at the running backs that are still around. You're like, could I live with that being my best running back? I don't know. That's what you got to make that decision.
I tried in a couple drafts or mocks doing the no running backs for the first 4 rounds to see how that would go. And then I did the opposite. I chose running backs in the first 3 rounds and then see how it went. The wide receiver depth that you're getting in rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 are still number 1 receivers on their team. You got your Moonies, you got your AJ Browns, you got your Scary Terrys still sitting out there, where Derrick Henry you're not going to get in the 4th round. But somebody like a Mooney or a AJ Brown or somebody like that, you could, and he could produce close to what Jefferson's giving you.
Right.
So that's the way I would look at it.
Yeah.
Cup is older by that math. Excellent math, sir. OBJ is good. Wide receiver 3 or 4 for December. Don't have to rush to get back.
I was an OBJ fan enough, but I just saw him not be able to catch balls, and he's been getting hurt quite a bit. It was kind of a freak one in the Super Bowl. But I don't know. I mean, there's nothing. If I was a Buffalo Bills fan, I don't want him coming into my locker room. Yes, I know he came into the Rams locker room and they won the Super Bowl. I don't want it though. I don't know. Like, they don't even need him. That's the thing. The Rams needed him. The Rams need to put him in there. They had guys hurt, dinged up. I don't know.
Going back to real quick to the Jefferson thing too, there's now some decent depth at wide receiver for Jefferson's value that he's going. Is he going to be probably number 1 receiver? Yeah, I think you're 100% correct there. He still has Thielen to deal with. He has Obese Johnson. He has KJ Osborne.
Amir Smith or Set.
Correct.
I think, he had a fumble the other day, which isn't good for him.
Yeah.
But I think he's one of those guys. He's that second year who stumbled in the rookie season. I think he's going to bounce back pretty decently. These aren't guys that drafted. but you're putting them on your watch list. Like nobody's drafting Naomi Brown. People might draft probably Josh Palmer because the Herbert hype that we talked about earlier. Nobody's drafting Amir Smith-Marset. But these are guys you want to put on your radar. That if something happens where you get an open spot, having to put a guy in the IR, maybe walk him off the waivers and wait and see week one, see what we think about him week one. And you already have them on your team before they blow up. Because we're a couple weeks away, Rob. Right?
Coming down to the wire here, sir.
So things are going to start to heat up. We'll post a couple things. We'll have a couple TikTok vids and whatnot to post on any sort of updates or inklings that we might get. But then we'll have the recorded week one game slate posted for you to view on the toilet or laying in bed whenever you have a second to check and see what we think about the players on your team. It'll be game by game, correct? So you'll be able to specifically watch, right?
I think we're going to probably do 3 game sets or 4 game. Maybe we'll do divisions or something like that just to make things a little bit easier. But they're going to kind of be 5 minutes on each game, just saying what kind of players you're thinking. I think we do a video for each one and maybe a little bit too cumbersome. Even if we just double up or something like that. What is there, 16 games? So 8 videos. Yeah, 4 videos I would think would make sense.
All right. And then the live somehow,
Sunday,
possibly, Sunday opening Sunday. So maybe we'll go live one more time before the Thursday opening night.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can make that happen.
Like 2 weeks from today. Or 2 weeks from tomorrow, something like that. Like a Tuesday night.
Yeah, maybe the 5th or the 6th, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
We can make that work.
We'll come back and we'll talk about your lineups heading into it. Most specifically, though, the Thursday game. And then we'll have our game breakdowns, like we said, and then we'll be live for opening morning.
All right, guys. I think we're good. Guess you're good to go?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for clicking a like or whatnot and commenting. This is good. And we'll mark down the names. We'll random them. We'll post the random on the site somehow, one way or another. And we'll send out a T-shirt to the winner. And I just have to make my wife make the T-shirts. And then hopefully I got to butter her up somehow.
You do what you do to get that shirt there, sir. Yeah. All right. Remember, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Guess. Excellent information there, sir. All right. Until next time, guys.
See you guys. Oh, wait. Hold up. Jeremy says it's ABT draft. Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, I wouldn't say.
Because last year we could because we were on the same team. This year we can't because Rob's screen, I'd be able to see it. And, I'd have to be clicking back. I mean, it could happen, but probably not. Just his schedule is different. My schedule is different. I mean, if it does happen, it'll be another surprise, Jeremy. So make sure you click on all notifications because if we have to go live for the Draft Live show, then you're going to want to see it. You won't know unless you have all notifications on.
I don't want this guy seeing my screen. No, I'm just John. We'll see what happens. All right.
My first round pick.
Oh, definitely. I've been playing my mock drafts differently because of that statement. So you can get over on everybody if you don't take Javonta at 5 and 6.
I'm taking him.
All right, guys. Answers by guess. Peace.
Bye. Good night.